Hello everyone, this is War Dog here. Today we're going to be doing a review on this multi-tool. It's a 1 horsepower grinder sent to us from Van Zandt. It's a knife making grinder is basically what it is. You can do other stuff with it, but it's got this 8-inch oversized contact wheel. It's got a rubber surface on the contact wheel, which is perfect for doing hollow grinds. What I did is I reached out to Multitool and I let them know we were doing a knife sharpening channel, and I asked them if they had anything that they would like reviewed on the channel, and so they thought this machine right here would be a good item for me to look at. A miter table over here on the side. It's adjustable underneath. To change the belt on here, it's super simple. You just push down on this bottom where you have slack belt right down here, and so I pushed down on the belt right there. That created enough slack in here to where the belt will come off. With that miter table on here, it doesn't go on and off as easy, but you see, you just pull the belt off, pull it out right here, and then if you want to put it back on, you would slip it right back in around the guard here first, slip it in. Okay, then once you're aligned, make sure you're about a 1/4 inch out from this plate right here, this rim that comes up. So you want to look at it. This is where the platen is, so it's sitting on the platen, and then underneath the platen there's a little trigger lever right here, and you pick up on that, and that's your tensioner. Now we got tension. We're going to want to turn this and make sure that your belt is not rubbing on anything. If it is, there's some bolts inside of here and down at the bottom. You loosen up those bolts and you can move this whole wheel attachment back and forth, and so that will help you get in line with where you need to be on the drive wheel back here. So then you want to rotate it the way it's going to go, which is this way, and it looks like we're not rubbing on anything, and we're on our drive wheel pretty good, so we're looking good. Okay, this does weigh 70 pounds. It's a big grinder. It's a 2x48 multi-tool. On this side, you could add another one of these attachments like this if you want. They also offer this in a smaller wheel. This one's the oversized 8-inch wheel. They have it in a 4-inch wheel as well, which you could put one on this side. This machine is variable position, so inside of here, if you pull this plate off and take the table off, inside of here there's 3 bolts, and you loosen those up and you can rotate that arm up into any position. So if you want to sharpen at a certain angle, you rotate it whatever angle you want, then tighten those bolts back down, and it could be fixed in the upright position or there or at a 45 degree, whatever you want. Thank you to Van Zandt and Multitool for sending us this. They have created a knife with a file. So this is what I purchased, was a couple of these files. They're made by Crescent Nicholson. So there was 2 of these, and I took one of them and I cut a little bit of the tip off with a grinder, and then I trimmed both ends of it, but I turned that other file into a knife, my second file. So this is my first knife that I've ever ground, and it was with this machine. So if you want to grind knives, if you're just getting into it and you don't have the big grinders yet, then go with this one. It's the 8CW-8. It's got the big 8-inch wheel for if you want to do like hollow grinds in the handle area. So when I was doing the handle, I used the wheel right here, this 8-inch wheel, and I ground a little spot here and here, and as you can see, I still got some Sharpie marked on there where I need to grind some more. Right there and right there is how I ground those 2 spots. So to grind this blade, you can see that there's still file marks all on the top, the sides, and then up here in the top. But I just laid it on the belt as it was rotating, and then I did it edge leading. So I just laid it on there and I brought it across the belt both directions, and I was watching the bottom as I was doing it to make sure that my blade was staying centered. So if you look at it, I'm trying to keep it nice and centered with the handle, and you can make minor adjustments as you're grinding. This one is not done, I just started it basically, but you can tell that it is starting to look like a knife. I ground some of the back off. There was a tip back here, I ground that off, rounded that edge, and then I put a couple round spots here so that you can grab onto it. Yeah, it's still got all the file marks in it, all the way down on the spine, all the way up the spine to the tip is all file marks. The only place I ground on the handle was here and a little bit on the back. It's turning out very nice. Did it all on this grinder except for cutting my tip off, and then the back I did that with an angle grinder. You grab like a full sheet of sandpaper, put some adhesive on here, stick it to it, and then use a razor knife to cut around it, and then you could have any grit you want. On the miter table, there's this little tool here that you can adjust your angle. That sets in a groove here, so you could lay your steel stock on there and run it at whatever angle you want, and then go back and forth. If you get this 2x48 grinder to make knives, make sure you get this specialty knife kit. They teamed up with Combat Abrasives, and this thing is just loaded with goodies. 2x48 belts. I've already taken one 36 grit, one of the ceramic shredder belts out, because that's what we were using on that knife. And so it comes with one 7-inch. It's a super abrasive. I'm guessing that's probably a 36 grit or something like that. Really tacky, really sticky feeling. But you can see how many belts are in here. It comes with, it looks like about 15 belts or so. It's a lot of belts. And then there's a Scotch-Brite belt as well. That's what this one is on the exterior, this blue one. So if you want to remove scratches and make something look nice, I haven't used that one yet, but I'm looking forward to using it. The 7-inch disc, it's super abrasive. So here is the bolt kit that comes with the grinder. If you just get the attachment, or if you get the whole grinder itself, it will come put together. Super happy with this grinder so far. This is that knife that I made out of a file, and as you can see, it's coming out what I'm thinking is really nice for my first knife. So super cool. This is a 1 horsepower motor, 3450 RPM. Once our belt's on here, if we want to do a quick belt swap, I'm not bolted down right now, so this thing I can move it around. But if you want to do a quick belt swap, you just push down on that, and then you take your belt off, bring it back on, and then pull up on that lever, and there you're good right there. For your tracking, let me flip this around. So on your tracking is, as we're rotating this, if we move this lever this way, you'll see that the belt goes this way, and now it's rubbing back here on the side of this disc. So this is your tracking. I'm going to put it back in the middle, and now we're off of that disc just a hair right here. You can see that it's almost rubbing. And then if I go down with that tracking lever and I rotate some more, you can see how it's walking off the wheel over here. You don't want that. That's too far over. I'm going to put it back in the middle and then rotate it. That's pretty good there. I like to have it about right in the middle right there. If you're not lined up, if it's all the way to one side, you're going to need to loosen up a couple bolts inside here and then tap your whole wheel assembly over one side, one way or the other, to get it in line. There's a grinding wheel on this side. This can be swapped out with a wire wheel or whatever you want, a buffing wheel or whatever you want to do with it. This is super nice for hollow grinds. The end of this works great for handles. This plate right here works great for axe work. You can see that I started cleaning up the back of this axe, and I did that on here. Once I had the disc spinning, I just touched it to it. With it being a hard disc, it's kind of hard to hold it. And then for this hollow grind on this axe, This would have been hard to get in here because it's a little bit rounded, but you can see that I used the round part of the wheel and I started grinding. And so I'm removing all the old surface rust and I'm making this look new again. And then you can also sharpen it on here. It's a super nice system. This is one of the ceramic belts that I've been using. It's a 36 grit combat shredder belt. So Multitool looks like they teamed up with Combat and they offer these belt kits, which is awesome. So you can get them right there through Multitool. Whenever you order your stuff, make sure you order your belt kit with it. Okay, this is a 70-pound grinder, so it's a heavy one, 1 horsepower. It's a pretty big motor. So I recommend bolting these down. I don't have mine bolted down yet. I wanted to do a video and be able to move it around for the video. You can see on our app, this is a knife that I made out of a file. So I ground the tip and then I cut this in with an angle grinder. And then I use this 2x48 multi-tool knife grinder to make this. It was a file. It's still got the grooves on top. The way I was grinding it is I just set it on here for the handle, and then on the end I would let it kind of roll on the end of it. I would just set it on here and let it grind, and then go to this side, let it grind. And the whole while I was doing that, I was watching my bottom and keeping the center of my blade centered on the bottom on your handle. So you can see on the top side, it's still file grooves. I didn't do any grinding up here, so it's all still file up here. But for freehanding it, I don't have any jigs or guides or anything. So for freehanding it, I think it's turning out all right for my first knife. To the blade, laying it on here. Flip it over. Make sure it's not getting hot, still cool to the touch. Still cool to the touch. All right, so here's our knife. It's by no means perfect, but for our first knife, it's coming along pretty good. There is a good progression of belts that we're going to go through, and we still need to sharpen it, but it is turning out pretty good so far. We're really liking this grinder that Van Sant sent us. So if you guys are looking at getting into knife making, if you want to make something like that out of a file, then get you one of these 2x48 grinders. They're a really nice system. This is for if you don't have a whole lot of room in your garage, or you don't have enough money, if you can't afford the 2x72 system, this is a great starter knife making sand grinder. And so if you got a small shop or a small garage or whatever, these things work great in there. They do make another one with a smaller contact wheel. It's got like a 4-inch contact wheel, and it can go on the other side of the grinder. So you could be running 2 different wheels and 2 different discs if you wanted, let's say, 180 grit on this one and 60 grit on the other. You could run these side by side on a grinder, and it would work great. I'm super happy with this tool. We're making our own knives now. Gonna have to sharpen this one up and see how it cuts, but so far it's looking really nice. Hopefully you can see up top that it still has the old file marks. You can barely see a hint of it along the top. And then I ground it out of the bottom. It looks like I got to hit that spot again. It's a little bit crooked. I want to keep everything nice and straight, but just want to say thank you to Van Sant for sending us this grinder for the channel to review. So far we're loving it. It's a great knife making grinder. Yeah, just super impressed with it. I went and bought like a $12 file or whatever it was, $10-15 file, and this is the knife that I made out of it. And this is just after about an hour of work to get this far. So I'm sure as I do a few more that I'll get quicker at it. You can still see the old name tag right there off the file, and then the same with that side. I recommend everybody get one. It's a 2x48 8CW. It's a multi-position grinder, 1 horsepower. It's got the 8-inch contact wheel, the 7-inch disc over here for disc sanding, and then I got the miter table with it. And then don't forget to order the belt kit from, it's a Combat abrasives combined with multi-tool grinders to come up with this belt kit. And so this is our belt kit here. It's just loaded with everything you need for making your first knives. Make sure you order this belt kit, and then you'll learn which ones you use the most, so you can, in the future, you'll know which belts to order, or just order the whole knife kit again, because this gives you pretty much everything you need. Looking into making your own knives, make sure you get a hold of Multitool, and because you'll be able to make some stuff like this. So thank you guys, appreciate it.